Good news you can use with Biba Pedron, yeah. She got the good news you can use. Good news you can use for your life.
Hi, and welcome to this edition of the Boomer Beat. As you know, I am your host, Beverly Mahone. And this episode gives me great pleasure to introduce the woman who is known around the world as the business and mindset coach. She is all about helping solopreneurs like me, and probably you, because you're watching this, helping them to increase their business by attracting clients. And she says it's all about the mindset. And we're going to talk about that mindset and about expressing gratitude as we move into 2021. So, without further ado, it is now she's French, okay? So I've got to get my best French accent on. Biba Pedron. Did I say that kind of
Perfect.
close?
Yeah, kind of. You say it the American way anyway, so the Biba Pedron.
Okay.
I'm used to it. Sounds
All
more
right, very
exotic than my name is Pedron, but Pedron looks more exotic.
okay. Very good. However you say it, we'll just say Biba for today. I love that. Okay. So before we really get into the crux of what it is you do, tell my audience more about your background and how you kind of got where you are today.
Well, so as you said, I'm French, and I moved to the United States about 17 years ago, just because I had a dream when I was a little girl and I wanted to be an American. So I'm not an American yet, but it's coming soon. And actually it took me years and years to get there, but then everybody say that I won't be able to do it. I won't be able to move. And when I was ready to move, that I won't be able to start a business over there. And well, since I'm a little girl, I always do only what I want. And whenever people say, no, you can't, or it's impossible, I show them that I can do it. So finally, I moved to the US in 2003. It took me 2 years to go back and forth in order to understand how to do business the American way, how to get the visa, of course, to stay in the United States. And I started a business which was organizing networking events. And the interesting thing is, when I was in France, I started in 1998, I started a business, a telemarketing company. Pretty much overnight, I quit my job on a Friday evening and started a business on the Monday morning. I didn't know what I wanted to do at first. I just knew that I wanted to be able to move that business eventually one day in the US, and mainly New York, because that was not even the US, that was New York, and be able to manage this with just a computer, a phone, and internet. And 1998, it was just the beginning of internet, so we didn't really knew. So I actually started as a VA because that was the only thing that I could do without investing any money besides buying the computer. And then quickly, in 6 months, it turned in a telemarketing company. And then I went back and forth between Paris and New York in order to find how to get the visa and everything. But what I learned, I spent a whole summer at the library, at the business library, and I saw this word of networking everywhere in every books. And we didn't have networking in France at the time. So I didn't know what it was. And when I was looking at the dictionary, I saw like it was networking cable or something. I couldn't understand it. And I said, okay, but in every books I read that the American people, the entrepreneur, they find the clients 80% through networking. So I said, if I want to do business the American way, I definitely have to learn how to do it. So I went to an event at some point to try to understand better. And then I stayed for 1 minute in the bar, because when I moved, I didn't speak English and I didn't know anybody. So when I arrived in the bar and I saw all of these people, there's like more than 100 people with the noise and everything. I said, there's no way that I can understand if anybody tried to speak to me. And I was very shy. So I took my name tag, I turned around the bar and I left immediately. And then I said, well, if they say that networking is really the way to do business, I have to go back again. So I did again. And then I made the goals to speak with 2 people, and the next time 3 people, then 4 people. And then I liked the concept. So since I was not speaking English correctly. You know, telemarketing, if you do telemarketing, you don't speak English, that will be complicated. So I decided to start events. And that's how I got the visa. And that's how I got to meet people and do probably networking a different way, just because I didn't know networking really. So I didn't organize the events the same way than other people. And that's the reason why people noticed that there was something different. And then within 2 years, people say, how are you doing it? Because we can see you everywhere. We see your logo everywhere. People know who is Biba in New York, and the good thing that I was the only one. So that's how I realized that people were coming to me, not only just for the networking, but for the visibility. And then social media arrive, and then they say, how are you doing it? We can see you on social media in French, in English, everywhere. How are you spending the whole day on social media? And then I explain to people, I say, no, I just spend 15 minutes a day on social media. And that's really how it started.
Okay, so let me just interject here and say that networking as we knew it 20 years ago really wasn't networking. It was more like socializing.
Absolutely.
And I had to learn networking at middle age because I really didn't know the concept either. So that's going to move me into the next transition of this conversation. There are a lot of women who are 50 plus and older, and men who, because of the pandemic, because of close to retirement, the companies are kind of kicking them out the door, and they're trying to figure out, well, what do I do with the remaining years of my life? Because I'm not ready to die. I'm still able. I still have a lot of life in me. And something you said was about it's a mindset.
Absolutely.
So can we still have that solopreneurial mindset once we reach 50 plus? And how do we do it?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I moved to New York when I was already 40. So I was not like a young kid. So, and the mindset, and I have to say that you guys in the US, it's much better than in France. The mindset, it's much better. People are more open. And I guess I didn't know when I was little. Everybody asked, why do you want to move to the United States? And I never could answer. Then when I moved there, I said, okay, now I understand, because I have more the mindset, more open mind than the American people compared to the French people. That's why I guess that's why I was attracted to. And the mindset, you can have it at any age. And it really depends on what you want. What are your goals? Do you think that your goals or your dream are you can succeed, you can realize your dream? And then it's really depend on, are you sure that you really want to just something in your guts, in order to make sure that even if you feel that it's just impossible, even if you go through the horrible situation or whatever it is a disease, or it is like I had breast cancer twice in 10 years. Some people say, how are you doing it? I said, I don't know. I just do it. I just went through it. And I didn't let the disease take my head. That's the most important thing. Through the two times, the first time was 2004 and then 2015, something like that. And then, I did what I had to do with the disease. I went to the hospital, I had the surgery, I had the radiation, I had all that kind of things. But beside the appointments, the disease was not in my life, the disease was not in my head. So I just continue, and I always say that, sometimes people say, you shouldn't say that. I say, I went through my breast cancer like I went through a flu, because I didn't let it get in my head. So, and now with what's happening in the world with the pandemic, a lot of people went down because they were depressed, because the entrepreneur, they didn't know what to do with a job, what to do with a business, how to adapt the business very quickly. A lot of people lost their job and they say, what can I do now? So I think for me, it's much easier to be an entrepreneur than to have a job. And at any time you can start a business, even if you're a solo entrepreneur, just because you have an expertise. So whatever your expertise is, it's helping people, it's to craft, it's whatever it is, you have an expertise. And then it will be much easier to start your own business, even if at the beginning it's just like a small business. but because then you can create your own economy. As long as you have the mindset to do it, and you know that it will be difficult, but then you can go through it, then you have the right mindset, and then you can go through whatever change, economic change, crisis, whatever it's coming. You know, the pandemic didn't change anything to my life, except that I normally lived in Miami now, and I was in France when it started. So they closed the border. I'm not in my house since about a year now, but it didn't change anything because my business is where I am. So as long as you don't let anything around you get in your head, then you can do whatever you want, as long as you really want it. Because even if it's a dream, like you think it's just impossible, like everybody say you will never be able to move to the United States because of this, because you don't have the education, because you don't have the money, because you don't have a big project. Like I went through the 2 years I went back and forth, I saw 6 immigration lawyers. 5 of them in 2 years say you won't be able to get your visa. And I said, I don't care what they said. I want to leave to the United States. So then I continue. I went another one, and then number 6 said, of course you can come. Of course you don't have enough money. And of course the project is not too small. We can do it. And within 6 months, I had the visa. So if you really sure of what you want, even if professional, like, 5 immigration lawyers, if they tell you, no, you can't, well, you probably think, well, there's no solution for me. But you don't care of what people said. As soon as you really know that's what you want, it will be difficult. You will probably have numbers of obstacles. But if you're ready to go through all of these obstacles, because that's what you want, and you make sure that you're sure that at the end you will get it, it doesn't matter. So that's where, for me, I think that, and I always say that everybody should be an entrepreneur instead of having a job. But I know that not everybody have the mentality to be an entrepreneur, but it's much easier because you do whatever you want. You can change your business. When we were confined in France in March, mid-March, well, it took me a week to say, okay, because I was doing a lot of public speaking in France, and I was events, and I had actually a live events 2 days later in Paris. What I'm doing. So it took me, so first of all, the events, I call everybody, I said, let's do it on Zoom, because I was already using Zoom. And then I said, okay, I won't do public speaking anymore. What can I do? How I can do it? It took me like a week in order to decide what I wanted to do and how I wanted to adapt my business. But then it was like normal. Nothing changed in the business during the year. So that's why it's very important also to have the right people around you. Because the reason why it took me only a week, because I saw one of my coach online and I saw how he did it. So the purpose of having coach is because we learn from our coach. We learn from people who are higher than us and who did all the things already and had the experience. And I saw what he was doing and how I can duplicate what he's doing to my own business. So that's why it didn't take very long. So I think that whatever you age, whether you're 50 or even more, I had my oldest client, she was 82 and she was ready to start her own business. So It doesn't matter. Really.
So let me ask this question, because you've raised up some really good points here, and I could ask you a million questions. But as you know, there's nothing new under the sun. Mm-hmm. So when we think about a business, the mindset says, "Wow, everybody else is out there kind of doing the same thing, mm-hmm. and they're younger, they're smarter, they're more tech savvy, they're this, they're that." So you've got all these reasons why you don't think you'll stand out in the crowd. Mm-hmm. That's a mindset. So how do you flip that switch? What do you do to say, I can be better than because what?
It's because there's a lot of people who do what we do. And a lot of people will do what you already do or what you want to do. But there's only one person who has your story, your background, the way you do things, your personality. There's only one person. So even if you have the same expertise than somebody else, you won't present it the same way because you have a different personality. So people will like somebody else better and somebody will like you better. So that's the reason why there's enough space for everybody, because the same way that when I started networking in New York, I didn't even know what it was pretty much. I one day decided that, okay, I didn't even have the money to rent a room at the time. So I decided to do it in different in different bars. And then I said, and then after a while, and then it's funny because after 3 months, the guy who used to come to my event said, do you really want to continue your events in a bar? Because he said, I really like what you do, but why bars? I said, just because I don't have the money to rent a room. And he said, okay, let's do your events at the bank. And I was like, excuse me, let me do events at the bank. And it's something that is just impossible in France. But he said, yeah, we close the bank at 6. So you come from 7 to 9 and we have the events there. So, and that's how I started. So I was, first of all, I didn't know anybody. I pretty much didn't speak English. I didn't know what was networking. I didn't know how to do business the American way. And there's always this thousand of events going on. And I didn't know what was a networking event. So I did it anyway because I liked the concept and I did it my way. So because of my personality, because the way that I was organizing it, because all that kind of things, well, it was successful because it was my own way. If I had to say, okay, there's already probably 50 events a day in New York that I can go or that are my competitors, I would never start the business.
Right.
So it doesn't matter if there's a lot of people who already do what you do, because again, you may have the same expertise, but you won't teach or produce the product or the service the same way. And what people buy, especially if you're a solo entrepreneur, it's not the service. It's not what you sell. It's you. They buy you first, your personality, your authenticity, the way you talk, the way you move your hands, the way the way you walk, the way you get dressed. I mean, most of the time I'm in black and red. So people already in France, people when see black and red, they say, oh, that's Biba. And then when I'm not in black and red, they say, oh, why don't you wear black and black, red and black and red? So it's part of your personal branding. So your branding is different from anybody. So as long as you organize your branding and you have the mind correctly, then nobody is your competitor, and you don't care about the other competitors, because of course there's people who won't like you, and you don't care because you don't like them either. And the people, and they will never be your clients anyway. So you don't care.
So let me ask this question, because you made reference to it earlier. You talked about having a good team around you, having a good coach, someone, who can help guide you. One of the things I was so impressed with, when you reached out to me, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, is you helped me see a bigger picture. Not that I didn't have a big vision. I have a big vision, but I guess I wasn't walking into it the way that I felt I should be. So how do you go about, selecting the folks that are going to really set you up for success?
I think it's the same that the clients come to us. You have to have the feeling with that person. So we always say that how ideal clients look like us. So then our coach look like us, but they just few steps above us. They already went through this thing, and they have, I won't say the success because it's not just about the success, but they have the kind of business that you're looking for, or they have the expertise, because I that's something that I learned also in the United States, because when I left France in 2000, we didn't have business coach in France at the time. It changed a lot since then, but we didn't have. So I was not, when I arrived in the US, I say, why everybody's a coach and why everybody has a coach. So it took me a while to understand the purpose and to have the right mindset, because I was saying to everybody, no, why do you want to coach me? I already have a business in France and this works very well. And I did it on my own. So, but it was working well, but at a certain level. But then when I moved to the US and I realized when I arrived, I was at that level, but then people were growing fast, and I was still there. And then I ask people, I say, I don't feel that I'm stupid, more stupid than you, but what's the difference? And that's when people say, well, we are in a mastermind or we have a coach. So that way we can have the shortcut, because our coach tell us what to do, how to do it, and how to avoid any mistakes. And then they already have the right strategy, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel all the time. And then when I had the right mindset, because I had to change my mindset also, And then I said, okay, now I understand. And since then, I'm always working with coaches. So sometimes I choose them because they have the same personality, and I recognize myself in the personality. And some of the time, it's just because they have a specific expertise that I need. So, and then again, I will find 10 people who have the expertise that I need, but then do I like this one? Do I don't like this one? How is this one doing business? Like I worked with somebody a couple of years ago, but he's a man and he was really pushy. And I hate that. And I don't want to do that to my clients. And I hate when people are doing it to me. So I took a class with him. I took a training, but then I said, that's not somebody that I will take I will work one-on-one, because I don't like the way he's doing it. Even if he's very successful, that works for him, but that's not working for me. And then when at the same time, I pick another guy because it was more technical on what I wanted. And then I work with the guy and it's okay. He said, I like one day in a mastermind I said, what is your strategy to do the strategy session? Do you have a script? How do you work? Everybody say you need a script. He said, well, my strategy is that I don't have a strategy. I talk to people, whether they want to buy it. If they buy it, it's okay. If they don't buy it, it's okay. So I said, okay, that's what and it's very successful. I mean, people definitely know him. It's Frank Kern. I mean, he was one of the first one in the market in internet. I say, this guy is very successful and he's telling me that I don't have to be pushy, that I don't have to call somebody like 10 times and do you want my stuff? Do you want my, and I say, I love that. So I prefer to work with him instead of the other guy. And I won't mention the other guy.
Okay, no problem. Please don't. Okay, so we shouldn't trust grandma because grandma thinks that we could be the best salesperson because we sell things for her, but we should really be looking at someone who is aligned with what our goals and desires and dreams are. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's also how we have to pick the right people that work for us, not for the others, how that works for us. Do they have the same ethics than we have? Do they have a way to do business like that we have? I always say to my clients, I never do to clients what I don't like people to do to me. I never do that. If I hate something, I won't do it to my clients. And most of the time also, I like coaches, and that's how I coach too. I don't say to my client, there's one way. Most of the time people say there's one strategy. You have to use only one because that's the one is working right now. No, there's plenty of strategy. Now you have to find the one that is working for you, for your business, for your audience, for your personality. And that's how I pick my coach also. People who already, when I hear them either at a seminar or if I see video before I work with them, I said, I like what they say, how they say it. I like the way they do business. And that's the kind of person I want to work with. And then when you pick the right people, and you can have like different coaches eventually at the same time on different topics, but always pick the people that kind of have the same ethic as you, and then you just follow what they tell you, because they give you the shortcut, but you still have to do the work. It's not like they tell you and then suddenly everything appears. No, you still have to do the work, but then you know that you have a step-by-step thing that it's working much better than if you try to do on your own. So you save a lot of time, and that's how you grow your business much faster.
I'm going to change course just a little bit, but I want to come back to the whole, about you're starting your business. But one of the things that I was so impressed with you is the fact that you reached out to me to do a consult. You said, a 10 to 15 minute consultation.
It's not a consultation. It's a virtual.
It really wasn't a consultation. It was really just to get to know you, to know and learn more about your business.
And I definitely don't want people to think that it's like a sales coach. No, it's a sales coach. That's a big difference, because people, I had you a strategy session, but that's different. But in order to connect with people, I mean, there's so many people on LinkedIn who would want to become your friend or your contact, whatever. And then immediately they send you, I have a great webinar. You should look at it because it will help you. They don't know us at all. So how do you want to sell something to somebody? You don't even pay attention to what they want. Do they really need your service? So that's what I like with the virtual coffee. And I used to do the virtual coffee like already 15 years ago, but it's like a conversation and people feel more safe, especially women, I have to say, because men, they're more like, okay, buy my stuff. But with the woman, they more, okay, say virtual coffee. Okay, nobody will try to sell me anything. And that's the reason, because we want the human contact, we want the relationship before we try even. The sales will probably come at some point, but not with everybody. And that's how people, like yesterday, somebody asked me, oh, you do networking, and you do video, but then how do you make money? Well, for me, it's obvious how I made money, because I do what I have to do, and then people contact me and they see the video, they see the interview, and then they contact me. And if they like what I said, and if they like the result that my other clients have, I mean, they want the same result. So it's obvious. So the sales will come later, but it's very important that you network. And we were talking about networking at the very beginning. You network.
Exactly.
Networking is not selling. Actually, I wrote a book called Stop Pitching, Start Networking. So it's really understand to bring the networking at the level of your network. You meet people, you grow your visibility, you let people know what you do, who you are, what you do, how you're doing it, for who do you serve, and what's the benefits of your service. On the first conversation, that pretty much the only thing that you should say, and not try to sell anything. And that's why I like the concept of the virtual coffee, because sometimes you never know. Sometimes they become clients, sometimes we become the clients, and sometimes they refer to other people. And all the time we do interview like we're doing now. So there's always something coming. But if people want to rush the networking part, and that's why also on LinkedIn, you see a lot of people who use the chatbots, and it's automated, and it's like about sell. Well, when that kind of people, they contact me, I just remove them.
So speaking of LinkedIn, is it necessary to be on that particular social networking site, or can you work around it and be other places and still be successful to some degree?
Yeah, it really depends on your business and your personality. Are your clients on LinkedIn? Are they on Instagram? Are they on Facebook? Are they on Twitter? Well, you should know where your people are. So personally, I work mainly with Facebook and LinkedIn. I don't like Instagram. So I mean, I'm sure that I have clients who could come from Instagram. I just don't like it. So, and I like LinkedIn because it's doing the virtual coffee. It's much easier on LinkedIn than on Facebook, because on Facebook, people want to talk, but they want to talk about what's going on during the day, what's going on with everything, with the actuality or something like that. On LinkedIn, we have a professional conversation.
Can you realistically start a business with no money? Realistically?
I did it.
Well, I know you did it. I mean,
I did it twice,
did it, of course.
I did it twice, because when I quit my job in France in 1998, well, I knew that 30 days later, I won't have a salary anymore. So when you know the money is not coming anymore, you have to work, you have to do what you have to do. And then after 2 years, when I moved to the US, I said, okay, well, I stopped the business in France. And then I said, I don't really have that much money, but I know I will succeed. So again, it comes to the mindset, as we said at the beginning. Yes, you can start without any money. And I once said, if people have a job today, especially with what happened in 2020, don't quit your job if you have a job, but you can start a business part-time. And then even if you work on it like an hour at lunchtime, you work like an hour in the evening, you work a little bit during the weekend, just start with that. What is your expertise? What are you passionate about? What you have a market with, because you can be passionate about, but if there's no client, that will be difficult. So you have to do some research. Make sure that it's something that you really, really like, because if it's something that you do just for the money, or just to say, I'm going to start a business, when the obstacle will come, then you will go down, and then you say, oh no, it's too difficult, I don't want to do this. When you're passionate, I always say to clients, if you start a business for the money, you may fail. When you start a business with your passion, and as long as you know that there's a market, it will work, because you can work You can have 1, 2, 10, 20 obstacles. It doesn't matter. That's what you want to do. You just have to learn how to do it correctly. So that's why you take help with coaches. But then you can do whatever you want. So again, it's back to the mindset, but definitely, and whatever you 50, 60, if you want to start a business, the economy is more complicated today. But the good thing, it's more easier because you have all of this information on internet. When I started in 1988, there's like few books in France to tell you how to start a business. There's nothing on how to become a coach. There's nothing on how to start a telemarketing company. So now we have all the information through internet. So we can't say I didn't know. We just need to find the information and then to have the passion to say, this is what I want. Whatever people said, I will succeed. And then it's working, but it's work.
All right, very good. Well, in the little bit of time that we do have left here, Biba, how can someone reach out to you if they'd like to either have a virtual coffee or just to learn more about your coaching and your business?
Well, they find me either on Facebook or on LinkedIn. You just type Biba Pedron and you will find me. And my website is bibapedron.com/US for the US version. And then you will have the opportunity there to see all the services that I offer. I help people mainly through one-on-one coaching and group coaching. And with the strategy that I use in order to double or triple their revenue in 90 days, I have something very specific that I can help people. And the funny thing is people come to me for the marketing first to help them to grow the business, to get more clients. But when they start as a client, what most people don't realize is we first start with the mindset. Because when I double or triple the price of a client, or when I add a zero to what they already have, then we need to work on the mindset first for them to be comfortable enough to say, okay, this is what I worth. I know that I give a great service. I know people have a great result. So whatever they're selling, I give a great result. So I can be able from, like I had the clients from 500 euro to 5,000 euro and then get the clients within 3 weeks. But we first work on the mindset. So that's why the mindset is very important, because you can do whatever you want in marketing. If you don't have the right mindset first, that won't work. You can have like 10 coaches, it won't work. But with the right mindset and the right marketing, then you have everything and you have a successful business.
And the right book, because you have that book out, Start Your Dream Business Today. So that is also something that you can have in order to help you develop into that solopreneur that you want to be. All right. Well, yes.
I just published a book in French called the MDR, I don't know the translation, but the winning formula to succeed your life, that will translate in English. And that one, the MDR, means motivation plus determination equal the realization of everything you want, whether it's a goal, whether it's a dream, even if it's a big dream, then so I have the first book, it's about the business, and the second book is about mindset, and it's coming soon in English.
Okay, so it's not in the United States yet?
Not yet. It's still in French. If people speak French, they can find it on Amazon, the French version, and the US version will come soon.
Okay, well, you need to keep me updated so that I can make sure that I let our audience know so that they can get that copy of that book. And before we close here, I could not end without thanking Heidi Richards Mooney, who put together the Women Rockin' the Web 2020 awards, because that is how you and I met. Yeah. Had she not done this, I don't think I would have ever connected with you. I'm almost positive. I mean, I may have seen you and I may have been impressed and I may have reached out. I'm a Twitter gal and you're not really on Twitter, but because of Heidi, that's how networking really does work. Mm-hmm. So,
and we were like 50 women. We got the award. We were the 50 women. And I decided to reach out with the 51 because I said, if we got this award, that's for a reason. So it means there is like connection between us. There's synergy between us. So we need to know what other people do and see how we can help each other. And that's how I contacted you.
That's wonderful. So thank you again, Biba. All right, folks, listen, I hope you were empowered by this. And if you do want to learn more, please reach out to Biba. She is on LinkedIn and Facebook, as she said. And that's going to do it for this edition of the Boomer Beat. And until next time, remember, stay empowered on your journey. See ya.
Thank you.
Good news you can use for your life. If you want to get the info that'll help you throughout your life, yeah.